Okay, so we're going to start today by looking at chapter 13, which is all to do with coordinates. Some of you will find this very, very straightforward. More of you will you'll find it difficult if you don't get going from the very start. So people that missed it from the very start are going to find this difficult. But everyone, if you can keep with me as we go through it, you'll find this easy, right? So we're going to look at making a coordinate grid, labeling coordinates, drawing x and y axes, labeling the origin, naming the quadrants, the coordinate plane, the Cartesian plane, midpoints on a line segment, the slope of a line segment, and drawing graphs of line segments. Okay, so all that sounds very complicated now because it's new, but it's actually very, very straightforward. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll get on there and we'll just look at the very first thing, which is a game that I sent you on there. If you look at this game here, it's just to be able to label the coordinates. So this is all about finding coordinates, and if we click on it there, you'll see the spinner going around. And what they want you to do is they want you to try and find the boat. So in this case, you have to try and find the boat. And if you get the x coordinate, it will then ask you for the y coordinate. So that's the x coordinate sorted. Sorry, that's the x coordinate sorted there. So now I need to find the y coordinate. Maybe if I go back one, too far back. And there I have minus 9, 10, right? So minus 9, 10 is that one. So I'm going to try a new one, right? And again, I've sent this link on, so you'll be able to try this yourselves. So you can slide along. You can see there, it's somewhere around here, isn't it? And now I need to find the y coordinate. And you can see I found that one there, which is 2 minus 10, right? So we'll try another new one, right? So we'll just try one more and then we'll leave it at that. Then I'll give you a link to the... I'll send the link in the video, in the description of the video as well, if anyone's tuning into a video, right? And you can see there that we found that one, which is negative 4, 4. Now, the reason why we're doing this is because this is going to show you how we find coordinates. In this grid here, it's going to be negative 4, positive 4, and that's how we find that point. Okay, I'll just try one more with positives just to see. It's easier to work with positives. Here, okay. So for this one, my x coordinate, some of you begin to see how I can find that x coordinate. Okay, so the x coordinate there is going to be, let me just get that. Oh, sorry, so let's see if I can get that there. So the x coordinate there in this case is going to be 10. And the y coordinate I can see there is going to be 7. But if you look at this one here, you can see that this is going to be 10 and this is going to be 7. So you are able to link these up, right? So I sent that link on for you to have a look at, and that link is on your Teams. If you play around with that, you will start to develop an understanding of how coordinates operate. Okay. What we'll do now is we'll just go back and we'll look at the textbook and see how the textbook works. Okay. So main thing is with coordinates. Okay, so with coordinates and with coordinate grids, it's very, very straightforward. You just have an x-axis and a y-axis. So when you're doing these, it's kind of important that you have square papers, copybooks. So if you don't have squares in your copybooks or grids in your copybooks, you're going to find this more difficult. So like I was saying, here we have, I'm just going to show you an example of how coordinates work. So you always have your grid, which goes like this. You've got your x coordinates and you've got your y coordinates. Now, the way to remember it is very, very simple. Y points up to the sky. Okay, so y points up to the sky. That's the easy way of remembering it. So obviously x is the one that runs across, right? So you've got your x coordinates and your y coordinates. If you want to plot a point, say for instance we had, we'll say 1, 2, 3, okay, and 1, 2, and 3. Here we have the number 1, 2, and 3, and here we have the number 1, 2, and 3. So if I was going to plot, we'll say for instance this point here would be my x coordinate first, which in this case is going to be 2. So the x value is 2. So I'm going to put 2 in there. And the y value in this case is going to be 1. Okay. Another example. Let me just go to, we'll say here. So let's just say I picked this point here. Okay. I have to label that. I put my x value first and my y value second. So I'm going to put my x value first and my y value second. So in this case, the x value is going to be 3. So I can put 3 in there. And then I need to look at my y value, and my y value in this case is also going to be 3. I'll do another one over here. So let's do another one there. So we'll say this one here. So in this case, that's my coordinate there. So the x value and the y value. So the x value comes first. So the x value is going to be 1. So I can put 1 in for my x value. And for my y value, I'm going to put in the y coordinate. And the y coordinate in this case is going to be 2. Okay. So we'll skip on there and we look at this one. Now, what's important here is that your x coordinate comes first, your y coordinate comes second, and that's always the case. So x coordinate always comes first, y coordinate always comes second. And if you think about it logically, when you do the alphabet, W, X, Y, and Z, so X comes before Y. A, B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Okay, so the X comes first, the Y comes second. Another way of knowing which one comes first is that you can walk before you climb. Okay, so these ones are climbing up. So you walk before you climb. But X comes first in the alphabet, so X comes first when we label points. So I'm going to label 1 or 2, and then we'll see how we go. So let's start off with the first one there, and the first one there I'm going to label that, and I'm going to call the first one there point A. I'm going to label that, and it's going to be X first. So the X value there is going to be 1. So I'm going to put 1 in for my X value. And for my Y value, I'm going to put in 5. So I'm going to put in the 5 there. I'll do one more, and then I'll pause the video, and then I'll give you a chance to fill in the rest, and then I will fill them in for you. So B is the next one. So with B, you can see that the X value comes first, which in this case is 4. So I'm going to put in 4. The Y value comes second, and the Y value in this case is going to be 4 as well. So I'll have 4 and 4 for that one. So just to come back in, so we've just labeled all those points there. Just to see, these ones here in pink are slightly tricky because the X value is 8.2, we could say here, and the Y value is 4. And in this case, we're saying that the X value is 6.8, so 6.8, and the Y value obviously is 5. So they're just two tricky ones there, just to show you a small bit, right? Okay. So what we'll do there is we'll start with the first couple of questions. So if you can start by doing question 1 and 2, and that's just labeling the points. So you have in question 1, it says write down the coordinates of the points marked A, B, C, and D. So you've got A, B, you've got C there, and D there. So I'll just zoom in on that V, and then you will be able to try it for a couple of minutes. So I'll leave question 1 and 2 there so you can check them. And just remember that the X value comes first, the Y value comes second. So the X value always comes first, the Y value comes second. So I'll give you a minute there to try question 1 and question 2, and then I'll go through it. So you can see here for the first one there, the X value was 3 and the Y value was 9. So I'm just going to do the next couple there. So if we look at B, the X value for B is going to be, the X value for B is going to be 9, and the Y value is going to be 5. So For B, the x value is 9, the y value is 5. For C, you can see that inside here, the x value is 10, and the y value is 1. So that's going to be 10, 1 for C. And for D, the x value for D is going to be 11, and the y value is going to be 3. So that should be 11, 3. Okay. I'll quickly just look at the second one there, and we'll get that done. So we'll start off by, from the given grid, write down the coordinates of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So A in this case is going to be, I'm just going to write them out here, right? Because it's important that we have room for that, right? So what I'll do is I'll write them out here. So A in this case, let's just do it in these colors. So we've got A, we've got B, we've got C, we've got D, E, and F, and G. Okay, so obviously we have x coordinates, y coordinates, x and y for each of these. So you'll find yourselves getting a little bit quicker with these. So we'll start off with the first one, which is A. The x coordinate is 2, the y coordinate is 1. So we can put in 2, 1. For B, the x coordinate is 12, the y coordinate is 1, so it'll be 12 and 1. For C, the x coordinate is going to be 12, the y coordinate is going to be 5. So we put in 12 and 5. So I'll just pause it there for anyone that wants to try and get ahead there. So I'll just give you a second to try and get ahead. And I think we can continue on there and we'll fill in D, E, F, and G. So the D one there, the x coordinate is 9, the y coordinate is 8. So we'll have 9 and 8. For E, the x coordinate is 7, the y coordinate is also 7, so we'll have 7, 7. For F, the x coordinate is 5, the y coordinate is 3, so 5 and 3. And for G, the x coordinate is 2 and the y coordinate is 3, so 2 and 3. I just want to note while we're doing this that it's very, very important that when you're labeling these, that the x one comes first and the y one comes second, and we cannot make a mistake putting them the wrong way around, because say for instance the point 5, 3. If we look at 5, 3, I'm just going to highlight that so you can see it. So if we look at 5, 3, 5, 3 is here. That point is not the same as 3, 5, because 3, 5 would be here. So it's very, very important that we make sure we put in the right, the x first and the y second, okay? So you have to make sure you put in the x first and the y second. So with the next couple of questions, it's very, very important. You can see there that we have grid paper now. So it's important that when you're doing these questions that you use grid paper and that you use a ruler. So the homework I'm going to give you is questions 3, 4, and 5. For question 4, you'll need to draw your own grid. And when I say draw your own grid, what I mean is you're going to have to draw a grid. So I'll just show you how we do that. And that is just by going straight down. Okay. Bring that in and straight across. Okay. Let me just change that. Straight across. Okay. And you'll need to make sure that they fill the boxes. So in your copybook, every box would be 1 unit. Because I'm doing it here, I'm going to make every box, I'm going to make every 3 boxes. So I'll say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7. So when you're doing this into your copybook, you have to be extra neat, and you have to label your x's. So y points up to the sky, and obviously x goes across. So we'll put in x going across. And like I said, in your copybook, you can do every box being 1 unit. Because I'm doing it on this grid paper, I'm going to do every 3 boxes equal to 1 unit just to keep it tidy. But it's very important that you use the same distance between them. So if you're going up by 1 box each time, that's perfect. But if you want to go up by 2 boxes, you have to make sure that you go up by 2 boxes every time. Okay? So when you're doing this into your copybook for question 4, you need to make sure that each of them are 1 box apart. If you don't have grid paper, so if you're drawing this into a copybook that's just lined, you're going to find it very difficult. So I suggest that if you don't have grid paper, that you get a copybook that has grid paper, okay? Otherwise, you'll have to just use your ruler, but it gets messy, so it's not worth going into that. You're better off just being able to do it onto grid paper. So once you've drawn the question, then it just asks you to fill in the points, and you should have no problem filling them in after you've drawn your axes. The biggest challenge here would be drawing the axes. Just make sure that you keep the same distance between each one. Okay. The other thing to be careful of is make sure that you go up 7 and across 7, because the largest number on this here is going to be 7. So you have to make sure you're going up 7 and across 7. So I leave it at that. For homework, it's question 3, 4, and 5, and we'll have a look at it the next day, right? So we'll have a look at that the next day.